The deep black of space stretched like an endless ocean. Stars shone cold and distant, scattered across the void like tiny sparks in a dark room. Far from any sun, near the cold edge of the outer rim, hundreds of alien warships waited in formation. Their shapes were sharp and strange, like blades floating in the night. Their lights burned bright blue and green, casting long shadows across the empty battlefield. On the bridge of the alien flagship, Vorath Prime, Supreme Commander Jarek stood still, his long hands resting behind his back. His eyes glowed with a faint red light as he stared at the main screen. In front of him, the human fleet floated quietly. Only 12 ships, small and simple compared to the massive alien armada. It looked like a fight that was already decided. His second officer, a tall and thin creature with a silver crest, spoke carefully. "Commander, their fleet has not moved. No defensive formation, no signal of retreat, no sign of surrender either." Jarek's voice was calm, deep like a cold river. "They are outnumbered 100 to 1. They cannot run, they cannot fight, they will understand that." The bridge crew let out low sounds that were almost laughter. Across the alien armada, thousands of soldiers believed this battle would be short. Humans had courage, yes, but courage could not stop plasma cannons, rail blasters, and quantum torpedoes. 12 small ships stood against a wall of steel and fire. Inside the lead human ship, Horizon, Captain Mira Hale sat in her command chair. She was young but steady, her dark hair tied back, her eyes fixed on the enemy fleet. The alien ships looked endless, stretching far into the black. Every sensor, every radar, every warning light told the same truth. They had no chance in a normal fight. Her second-in-command, Lieutenant Raj Patel, leaned closer. "They have us surrounded. If they open fire, we'll be gone in seconds." Mira's voice stayed calm, though her heart was beating fast. "I know. But they won't fire. Not yet. They want us to surrender first." Raj nodded slowly. He knew she was right. The aliens wanted to make an example, to show the galaxy that no one could stand against them. But humans were not famous for surrendering. "Are we ready?" Mira asked. A quiet hum filled the bridge as engineers worked at their consoles. A soft green light blinked on the central screen. Commander Tessa Cho, the chief engineer, answered from below. "All systems are online. The field generator is stable. Once we start, there's no turning back." Mira took a deep breath. "Then we begin." Outside, the alien commander received the message he had been waiting for. Silence. No white flag, no communication. Humans would not surrender. To him, this meant the same as defeat. He raised his arm. "Prepare to fire." But just before the order was fully spoken, a quiet wave of static ran across his bridge. One of the sensor officers frowned. "Commander, something is happening." Jarek's red eyes narrowed. "What is it?" "Our scanners. They're losing the human signatures." "That's impossible." But it was happening. One by one, the human ships on the display began to flicker. Their heat signatures faded. Their engine trails disappeared. It was like they were being erased from existence. No jump signal. No warp signature. No known cloaking device, just gone. On the horizon, Mira could feel the energy building in the walls of the ship. A deep, low vibration filled the air like a giant heartbeat. Around her, the crew remained silent, their eyes locked on their stations. No one fully understood what the new technology would do. Not even Mira. It had been tested only once, deep under the oceans of Earth. But they all believed in it, because it was their only chance. "This is Captain Mira Hale," she spoke over the fleet channel. Her voice was steady, strong, carrying across every ship. "We do not run because we are afraid. We vanish because we must win." On each of the 12 ships, the same hum grew louder. Lights dimmed. Sensors burned with strange numbers no one could fully read. The ghost field was activating. Back on the alien flagship, the bridge exploded with confusion. "Where did they go?" "Sir, all targets have vanished." "I'm not detecting any FTL signatures." "They're not in normal space." Commander Jarek slammed his long hand against the control rail. His voice remained cold. but the red glow in his eyes grew brighter. No fleet disappears without leaving a trace. Find them. The sensor officer struggled with the instruments. Sir, there is something. A strange wave, like a ripple in the fabric of space. But it's everywhere and nowhere at once. I can't lock onto it. Jarek leaned closer to the main screen. The battlefield now looked empty. 12 ships had been floating there only moments ago. Now there was only the endless dark. Ghosts. One of the younger officers whispered. Jarek turned sharply. Humans do not have ghost technology. But even as he spoke, he remembered the whispers. Years ago, when the alien empire first met humans, there had been stories, secret missions, vanished fleets, mysterious battles that no one ever proved. They had dismissed them as myths. Now, standing before an empty battlefield, the stories didn't seem like myths anymore. Inside the horizon, the world outside looked strange. The stars stretched and bent like light through water. No alien signals reached them. No scanners touched them. The ghost field wrapped around the ship like a cloak, turning them invisible not just to sight, but to existence itself. Lieutenant Raj whispered, "We're in between." Mira nodded slowly. She could feel it too. It was like standing between one breath and the next in a place that wasn't fully real. But it worked. The alien fleet couldn't see them. "Status?" she asked. "All ships have successfully entered the ghost field," Tessa answered. "No major system failure. Energy levels stable." Mira looked at the tactical map. It showed the alien armada glowing bright red, unaware of the 12 human ships moving just outside their perception. "We move to position," Mira said quietly. "Let's show them what happens when they underestimate Earth." In the alien command fleet, panic was rising behind calm faces. Jarek moved quickly through the bridge, watching as his officers struggled to explain the impossible. "Sir, our long-range scanners can't find them. It's like they dissolved into space." "Could they have jumped through a micro-wormhole?" "No, sir. We would have seen gravitational distortions." "Then where are they?" Jarek closed his eyes for a second. He had fought many battles. He had seen great powers fall. But never had an entire fleet disappeared in front of him. The humans were only supposed to be a minor obstacle. Now, they had become something else. Something dangerous. "Alert all ships," he said. "Full defensive formation. I don't care if they are invisible. We will not be caught unprepared." 1,000 alien ships began to shift their positions. Weapons powered up. Shields brightened like glowing shells. It was a massive wall of force, ready to strike at anything that appeared. But there was nothing to strike. Seconds stretched into minutes. Minutes felt like hours. No attack came. No message. No trace. The empty battlefield made the aliens more nervous than any weapon could have. In the human fleet, Mira's voice came through every channel. "They are forming a shield wall. They're scared." Raj gave a small smile. "Good. That means they're thinking about us." She nodded. Humans had fought stronger enemies before. They had lost many battles, but they had also built something the rest of the galaxy didn't fully understand, a spirit that never accepted defeat. The Ghost Fleet was not built to crush armies. It was built to make them doubt, and doubt was a powerful weapon. Back on the alien flagship, Commander Jarek opened a secure channel to the High Command. The holographic image of 3 alien lords appeared, their faces hidden behind veils of light. "Report," one of them said in a deep, slow voice. "The human fleet has vanished." Jarek replied carefully. "No jump signatures, no debris, no destruction." "You lost 12 small ships?" the second voice asked, full of disbelief. "I did not lose them," Jarek said through tight teeth. "They vanished. This is not ordinary technology." The third voice spoke after a long pause. "Then the rumors were true." Jarek frowned. "Rumors. The Ghost Fleet," the voice said. "A human project said to hide entire fleets from reality itself. We never believed it was real." Jarek turned back to the empty screen. He could still feel their presence, not in sight, not in sound, but in the silence between his breaths. "They are still here," he whispered. Far away, hidden behind the ghost field, Mira listened to the faint hum of their new reality. The plan had only begun. Phase 1 was successful. They had vanished, and the aliens had no idea where they were. She turned to Raj. Ready the next phase? He nodded. Let's make them remember this day. The stars outside twisted softly as the human fleet moved like silent shadows. The aliens had thought this battle was already won. They were wrong. Humanity was not weak. Humanity was not predictable. Humanity had just disappeared into thin air, and the galaxy would never look at them the same way again. The alien armada floated in perfect formation above the empty void. Thousands of warships, each larger than a small city, hung like steel giants beneath a field of distant stars. Their engines glowed softly. Their weapons were fully armed, and their scanners swept the darkness again and again. But no matter how many times they scanned, they found nothing. The 12 human ships were simply gone. Inside the alien flagship Vorith Prime, Supreme Commander Jarek stood on the main bridge. Around him, officers moved nervously from one console to another. Their screens showed the same empty readings over and over again. No heat signatures, no warp trails, no signals, just silence. Jarek's second officer, a silver-crested alien named Reinar, finally spoke. Commander, there is no sign of the human fleet. It's like they never existed. Jarek kept his hands behind his back, his red eyes fixed on the large observation window. No fleet disappears into nothing, he said slowly. They are here. I can feel it, but our instruments are blind, Jarek interrupted sharply, and they have made us blind. For the first time in many cycles, the alien commander felt something cold inside his chest. It was not fear exactly, but something close to it. He had fought many enemies before. He had crushed fleets that dared to stand against the Vorith Empire. But this was different. This was not a battle. This was silence. And silence could be dangerous. On the human flagship horizon, Captain Mira Hale floated in that silence. The ghost field wrapped around the fleet like an invisible ocean. Outside the hull, light itself bent and twisted. Alien scanners passed right through them without noticing a thing. It was like being a shadow in a place where no one could see. Status? Mira asked quietly. Lieutenant Raj Patel studied the data on his console. Ghost field stable. All ships are still hidden. No alien scanners have detected us. Commander Tessa Cho down in engineering reported through the comm. Energy flow steady. We can hold this for several hours if needed. Mira leaned back in her chair. Around her, the crew moved carefully, speaking in low voices. Even though the aliens could not hear them, the silence felt heavy. Everyone knew they were floating in the middle of a massive enemy armada, unseen but surrounded. She spoke calmly, but her eyes were sharp. They are searching for us. Good, that means they are confused. Raj gave a small smile. I hope they stay confused for a long time. In the alien fleet, confusion was spreading fast. Across thousands of ships, Captain sent the same message again and again. No contact with human vessels. Scanners show nothing. No energy trail found. Alien strategists gathered in a war room aboard the flagship. A giant holographic map showed their fleet glowing in blue. The empty area where the human ships had been was marked in red. It was like staring at a ghost story. One of the strategists, a tall alien with glassy eyes, spoke first. They must have used a micro-wormhole. It is the only logical explanation. Another strategist shook his head. If they had jumped through a wormhole, we would have seen the gravitational signature. There was nothing. A third strategist leaned forward, his voice low. Then we are not dealing with logic. We are dealing with humans. The others turned to him. He continued. The humans have always been unpredictable. They build small ships, but they fight like they have 1,000. Their history is full of impossible victories. We should not assume they are gone. Jarek entered the room. The moment he appeared, the strategist stood silently. He looked at the map and spoke with a voice that carried through the chamber. They are here, he said. Invisible, waiting. The strategist with glassy eyes frowned. Commander, we have no proof. You don't need proof to feel a storm, Jarek replied. You only need to look at the sea. Inside the ghost field, the human fleet was indeed still there. Mira watched through a small transparent panel on the bridge. The alien warships floated all around like silent mountains of metal. Their blue and green lights shimmered through the distorted space. If even one alien ship discovered their position, The humans would have no chance to escape. But for now, they were shadows. Tessa's voice came through the comm again. Captain, the field is strong, but it is not perfect. If we stay too long in one place, they might notice small ripples. Mira nodded slowly. Then we move. Raj looked at her, surprised. You want to move through them? Yes, she said simply. If we stay still, they'll figure something out. If we move, they'll keep guessing, and that's how we win. The order spread quickly through the fleet. Engines hummed at their lowest frequency. The 12 human ships began to glide silently through the space between alien warships. The ghost field bent around them like soft smoke. They passed within a few kilometers of enemy cruisers, close enough to see the glowing alien symbols painted on their hulls. But no alarm was raised. No weapon fired. The humans were invisible. Back in the alien flagship, a young sensor officer noticed something strange. Commander, I am detecting small distortions. Very faint, like waves on water. Jarek turned immediately. Where? The officer pointed at a sector behind their second battle line. There, sir. But it disappears as soon as I try to lock onto it. Reinar, the second officer, frowned. Could be a scanner error. Or it could be them, Jarek said. Send patrol ships quietly. Moments later, 6 small alien scout ships broke formation and moved toward the area. They flew carefully, their lights dimmed. Their scanners swept the void like invisible nets. But by the time they reached the location, the disturbance was gone. On the horizon, Mira watched their movements on a tactical display. They're searching already, Raj whispered. Good, Mira replied calmly. Let them chase shadows. The human fleet adjusted its position again, sliding deeper into the gaps of the alien armada. Mira had studied their formation for weeks. The aliens were strong, but they were predictable. They loved perfect lines, clear patterns, clean tactics. Humans were not like that. Humans thrived in chaos, Tessa reported again. We're in a perfect blind spot, Captain. Their own ships are blocking each other's sensors. Exactly where we want to be, Mira said. Meanwhile, panic was spreading slowly but surely in the alien ranks. Captains argued through communication channels. Some believed the humans had run away. Others believed they were being surrounded. Rumors grew faster than facts. In a small alien frigate, a nervous young pilot asked his commander, "What if they are right behind us?" The commander snapped, "Don't be foolish." But as he said it, even he turned to glance behind the ship. And that was the power of fear. It made even the strongest doubt their safety. Back in the war room, Jarek received the patrol report. Nothing found, one officer said. Jarek tapped the table with a long finger. They are playing a game. Reinar lowered his voice. Commander, maybe we should wait. They can't stay hidden forever. Jarek shook his head slowly. If we wait, they strike first. And I will not give humans that chance. Inside the horizon, Mira listened to the alien communications they intercepted. Every whisper of confusion made her heart beat steadier. She turned to Raj. How long do you think before they make a mistake? Raj smirked. They're already making mistakes. The crew shared quiet smiles. They knew the truth. The ghost fleet was not about power. It was about control. If they could control the enemy's fear, they could win. Hours passed. The alien armada continued to search the void, sending scouts, scanning sectors, and finding nothing. Their formation grew looser as ships adjusted positions nervously. Small gaps opened in their once perfect wall. Mira saw it immediately. There, she said, pointing to the map. They're creating holes. Fear does that. Raj leaned closer. That could be our path. Yes, Mira nodded. And when the time is right, we'll strike. But the aliens were not completely helpless. On the flagship, Jarek called his science officer. Can we detect space distortions at a micro level? The scientist replied, it's difficult. But if they are bending space, there must be small ripples. Very weak but real. Then find them, Jarek ordered. We will not let shadows defeat us. The hunt had truly begun. The alien armada grew more tense with every passing second. Their ships moved in restless patterns, their engines shifting in tone. No one knew where the humans were, but everyone felt them. It was like sensing a predator in the dark. And somewhere inside that darkness, 12 small human ships waited, silent and ready. Mira stood on the bridge of the horizon, watching the alien movements like a chessboard. Her crew trusted her. The world outside was full of giants, but she knew something important. Giants can be slow, and shadows can move fast. They think they're hunting us, she said softly. But they're wrong. Raj looked at her. Then who's the hunter? Mira's eyes narrowed and a faint, determined smile appeared on her face. We are. In the alien war room, Jarek felt the same silence pressing on him. He had seen many battles, but never like this. His enemy was invisible, silent, and patient. And that kind of enemy was the most dangerous of all. He turned to his officers. They want us to fear the dark, but the Vorath Empire does not fear anything. But even as he said those words, he felt something strange. His own heartbeat echoed a little louder in the silence. For the first time, Jarek realized that this battle would not be won by strength alone. Outside, the stars watched silently as both fleets waited in the darkness, one massive and shining, the other small and unseen. The silence stretched long and deep like the calm before a storm. The aliens. The alien armada drifted like a massive storm across the empty blackness. Thousands of ships gleamed under distant starlight, each one a tower of power designed to crush everything in its path. Yet despite all that strength, there was a single problem. They could not see the humans. Not with sensors, not with weapons, not with any known technology. Inside the alien flagship Vorath Prime, Supreme Commander Jarek's red eyes glowed faintly in the dim control room. Every officer around him was tense, their limbs stiff, their voices tight. The humans had vanished, and the longer they remained unseen, the more dangerous they became. Reinar, the silver-crested second officer, spoke quietly. Commander, the sensors are showing small anomalies again. Very faint, but they move like shadows. Jarek's expression hardened. Shadows? They are not shadows. They are humans. And if we cannot see them, we cannot fight them. One officer leaned forward, voice trembling slightly. Sir, should we call for reinforcements? Send the main fleet? Jarek shook his head. Reinforcements won't help. They cannot chase what they cannot see. Every new ship will just create more blind spots for them to hide in. Across the bridge, alarms quietly blinked. The alien crew stared at the monitors, searching for something they could not find. But they could feel it, the human presence. It was in the silence, in the spaces between signals, in the way the stars seemed to shift slightly when no one looked directly. Humans were ghosts. Inside the horizon, Captain Mira Hale leaned forward in her command chair. The crew around her was tense but disciplined. The ghost field kept them invisible, and for the moment the humans had the advantage. But Mira knew they could not remain hidden forever. Report, she said softly. Lieutenant Raj Patel tapped his console. All ships remain in the field. Enemy formation is shifting. They're scanning the sectors again. It's like they're chasing shadows. Commander Tessa Cho, deep in engineering, added, Ghost field energy is stable. We can hold this for hours, maybe longer if we manage consumption carefully. Mira nodded. Good, that gives us time. We're not running. We're preparing. A holographic map appeared in front of her. Tiny green dots represented each human ship, perfectly aligned to pass through the gaps in the alien fleet. The red dots of the alien ships were massive, numerous, and perfectly deadly, if they could see them. Raj looked at the map with a mixture of fear and admiration. They're everywhere and nowhere, he whispered. Mira smiled faintly. Exactly. That's why they fear us. In the alien war room, Commander Jarek stood over the holographic display, his hands pressed against the cold glass of the console as he studied the fleet layout. Every captain in the room was whispering to one another, sharing rumors, theories, and fears. This cannot be happening, said one. 12 small ships cannot outsmart an entire armada. They are not small, another replied. Not when invisible. Not when their technology bends reality itself. We're chasing shadows, yes, but shadows that can strike at any moment. Jarek's jaw tightened. They are not just hiding. They are hunting. And the longer we wait, the more dangerous they become. One strategist raised a concern. Commander, if we keep moving the fleet, we might corner ourselves. They will have paths we cannot anticipate. Jarek looked around the room, red eyes sharp. Let them try to anticipate us. Humans thrive in unpredictability. That is their strength. They have always used it. Back in the horizon, Mira tapped her fingers lightly on the control panel. Outside, the stars moved past at speeds so fast they were hard to measure. The human fleet was slipping silently through the alien lines, invisible but aware of every movement around them. Raj leaned over her shoulder. Captain, we're close to their rear flank. If we strike now, we could disable their patrols. Mira shook her head slowly. No, not yet. They expect a sudden attack. If we strike now, they'll recover quickly. Timing is everything. She turned to the crew. Phase 2 begins soon. Stay ready. Every ship, every crew member, every system, prepare for precision. We don't need to fight them openly. We only need to make them afraid of shadows. Tessa nodded. Energy reserves are stable. We can sustain the ghost field through the next phase without issue. Mira's eyes narrowed. Good. Let's keep them guessing. In the alien fleet, tensions grew. Scouts reported strange anomalies again. Signals flickered. Engines pulsed slightly in response to unseen forces. The alien captains whispered among themselves. One pilot, young and inexperienced, spoke in fear. Commander,
what if they are already inside our formation?
They could be anywhere. The veteran captain of the ship placed a hand on his shoulder. Then they will strike where they choose. And we must be ready. But deep inside, even he feared the truth. Humans were not like any other enemy they had fought. They were clever, unpredictable, and now invisible. Jarek closed his eyes for a moment. He had studied human history. He remembered every story. Battles lost, ships vanished, armies outwitted. And now, standing before this invisible fleet, he understood one undeniable fact. Humans had learned to bend reality itself. Back on the horizon, the human fleet moved silently. Mira checked the status of every ship. Engines, weapons, shields, and sensors were all functioning perfectly. But she did not relax. The ghost field was not perfect. One mistake, one overload, and they would be exposed. Focus, she told the crew. Remember, this is not just about survival. This is about strategy. They cannot fight what they cannot see, but they will try. And every effort they make to find us brings them closer to their own mistakes. Raj nodded. Understood, Captain, but how do we know they won't find us? Mira's smile was calm and confident. Because humans are always one step ahead. Across the alien armada, the fleet began to lose cohesion. Ships shifted positions nervously. Some captains argued with one another, unsure of where to move. Others froze, scanning the darkness endlessly. The human strategy was working. Every shadow, every unseen move created fear, confusion, and hesitation. One alien strategist spoke, voice trembling. Commander, their strategy, it is to make us act first. And every move we make leads us into traps. Jarek's eyes narrowed. Then we must be careful. But we cannot stop moving. They want hesitation. They want fear. We give them neither. Inside the ghost field, the human fleet approached a critical point. The alien patrols were thinning. Open gaps appeared between the massive warships. This was the moment Mira had been waiting for. Phase 2, she whispered. Prepare to strike shadows. Raj's fingers flew over his console. Targeting systems ready. All ships aim for the weak points. Precision only. Tessa added, and power levels stable. Ghost field holding perfectly. Mira took a deep breath. Then let's show them what humans can do when they are invisible but present. In the alien fleet, alarms suddenly blared. Sensors detected small but rapid disturbances. The ships shivered under the sudden waves of energy passing through their formation. Captains shouted orders, but no one knew what to attack. The shadows were already among them. Commander Jarek's face hardened. They are striking. Stay calm, do not panic. Track everything. Anything that moves. Destroy it. But even as he spoke, he realized a terrifying truth. They could not track anything. The humans were not striking openly. They were ghosts, moving through space, touching systems, causing confusion, and disappearing before the aliens could respond. Hours passed like this. Every alien ship was tense, scanning and searching. Every human ship moved silently, invisible and precise. The ghost field allowed them to pass through enemy lines repeatedly, striking systems, shutting down patrols, and leaving no evidence. And the humans were not just surviving, they were teaching the aliens a lesson. Fear was the weapon, silence was the battlefield. Shadows were the soldiers. By the end of the cycle, the alien fleet was exhausted. Confusion and fear had spread across ranks. Captains argued. Strategists debated. Even Supreme Commander Jarek felt a cold knot in his chest. The humans had not destroyed them. They had done something far more powerful. They had made the mighty alien armada doubt itself. Inside the horizon, Mira allowed herself a small smile. The first part of their plan was complete. The Ghost Fleet had not only vanished, they had infiltrated, confused, and controlled the battlefield without firing a single shot. She turned to Raj. Phase 3 begins soon. This is where we take the advantage. Raj's eyes sparkled with anticipation. I've been waiting for this moment. Mira's voice was firm, calm, and confident. Remember, giants can be slow, shadows can move fast, and today we are the shadows. Outside, the stars watched silently. In the darkness, the humans moved like ghosts, unseen and unstoppable. The aliens had learned one thing. Humans were not just clever. Humans were unpredictable. Humans were dangerous, and they had only just begun. The alien armada stretched across the void like a wall of steel and light. Thousands of massive ships gleamed under distant stars, their engines glowing a cold blue. Every weapon system was online. Every sensor scanned the darkness for the invisible humans. Yet despite all this strength, they were hunted by shadows. Inside the alien flagship Vorath Prime, Supreme Commander Jarek stood over a holographic display. He rubbed his long fingers along the edge of the console as his red eyes scanned every sector. His jaw was tight. His officers whispered quietly, but no one dared speak loudly. The humans had vanished, infiltrated the fleet, and sowed chaos without firing a single shot. And now Jarek knew it was time for the humans to make their move. They cannot hide forever, one officer said. We will find them. Jarek shook his head. They are not hiding. They are controlling the battlefield. Every gap, every hesitation, every misstep we make, they are using it against us. Reinar, his second officer, spoke in a low voice. Sir, the anomalies are increasing. Small ships are moving in and out of detection. We cannot follow them. Jarek's eyes narrowed. Then we strike where they will appear, everywhere at once. Prepare the fleet. Even as orders spread across the armada, a sense of unease rippled through the crews. Something about these humans, this small, unseen fleet, was changing the rules of battle. Inside the horizon, Captain Mira Hale studied the alien formations. Her tactical display was alive with the positions of enemy ships, every movement calculated. The ghost field had allowed them to pass through gaps and confuse enemy patrols, but now it was time to strike. Phase 3, she said softly. Her voice carried calm authority. This is where we make our presence known. Lieutenant Raj Patel's fingers flew over the console. Targeting systems are ready. Weapons are offline until we need them, but I've calculated multiple paths for precision strikes. Commander Tessa Cho added, energy reserves stable. Ghost field can maintain invisibility while we move into attack positions. Mira turned to the fleet-wide communication channel. All ships synchronize. We strike fast, precise, and silent. Avoid direct engagement unless necessary. Remember, fear is our weapon. The human ships responded with quiet acknowledgement. They were small, fast, and invisible, but they were united, and unity gave them strength far beyond their size. In the alien fleet, panic was growing. Even Supreme Commander Jarek could feel it. His officers reported strange energy spikes, sudden system failures, and movements that could not be explained. Sir, the humans are striking, shouted a captain. Jarek's voice was cold. Where? They are everywhere and nowhere at once. Sensors cannot lock on. Jarek slammed his hand against the console. Then we strike blindly. Use automated defenses. Fire at every anomaly. Do not let them control the battle. Across the armada, turrets hummed to life. Railguns powered up. Missiles were armed. But despite their preparations, the humans remained unseen. They moved like shadows through the gaps in the fleet, striking systems and disabling patrol ships with surgical precision. Every alien captain could feel their presence, but no one could see them. On the horizon, Mira watched the alien reactions carefully. Every ship that misfired, every turret that shot into empty space, every patrol that faltered, it was proof that fear was spreading. Raj leaned over her shoulder. Captain, look at them. They're starting to reposition. They're confused, Mira nodded. Exactly. And when they are confused, they make mistakes. The human fleet moved silently into the gaps. Small bursts of energy flowed from their ships, disabling shields, overloading engines, and creating temporary blind spots. Alien ships collided with one another or scrambled into defensive patterns. Every misstep was a victory for the humans, yet no one had been harmed. This was a war of control, strategy, and fear, not destruction. In the alien flagship, Jarek felt the weight of the moment. His massive fleet was powerful beyond measure, yet 12 invisible ships had turned the battle into a nightmare. Sir, our patrols report. Empty readings again, Reinar said. Jarek's voice was sharp. Then we changed tactics. Full lockdown formation. No ship moves without command. Close gaps, watch every sector, and double the scanning frequency. He knew, however, that even this might not be enough. Humans were unpredictable. They thrived in situations where the rules were unclear. The longer the Armada waited, the more opportunities they gave the humans, and patience was their enemy. Meanwhile, the human fleet had reached a critical point. They had moved silently through the rear flank of the alien Armada, and now the targets were prime. Targeting paths locked, Raj whispered. We can disable their engines without being detected. Mira gave a small nod. Do it. The human ships released small, precise energy pulses at key points. Alien engines flickered, shields failed briefly, and small collisions occurred between massive warships. In moments, the humans had disrupted the flow of the entire Armada without firing a direct weapon. Chaos rippled across the alien formation. Supreme Commander Jarek's eyes widened. Report, sir. Engine failures, system overloads, shield malfunctions, multiple ships simultaneously? Jarek's hands clenched. Impossible. He realized the truth. The humans were not just invisible. They were using the gaps, the blind spots, and the arrogance of the alien captains against them. Every flaw in the formation was exploited, every hesitation amplified. The Armada had power, but power alone could not beat strategy, fear, and patience. On the horizon, Mira observed the changes in the alien formation. Ships were colliding, shields were down in several sectors, and panic was spreading. Now, she said calmly, prepare the final phase. Raj looked at her excited. Final phase? Yes, Mira replied. The moment we reveal ourselves. The moment they see humans are in control and not just shadows. The ghost field was still active, but the human fleet would soon leave traces. Not enough to be destroyed, but enough to be noticed. The aliens needed to see that their invincible wall had been breached. In the alien flagship, Jarek felt unease tighten in his chest. He could sense something moving where nothing should be. Even his most advanced sensors were fooled. He turned to Reinar. Activate the perimeter scanners at full intensity, he ordered. I want every anomaly tracked. Reinar hesitated. Sir, they are invisible. They will appear only when they choose. Jarek's voice was firm. Then we wait for their first strike. But we will be ready. In space, the human fleet moved like ghosts through the alien formation. Tiny bursts of energy disrupted shields, overloaded engines, and caused confusion. The aliens fired blindly, but no human ship was hit. Their timing, precision, and invisible advantage allowed them to manipulate the battlefield perfectly. Mira's voice came over the comm. All units hold position. Watch their reactions. Prepare to strike visibly in 3, 2, 1. Suddenly the ghost field shimmered. The human ships became visible not to attack but to assert dominance. They were still outnumbered, but now they were seen in the middle of the alien fleet, perfectly coordinated. Thousands of alien soldiers stared in disbelief. Their sensors could finally detect the humans, but the humans had already shaped the battlefield. Jarek felt the weight of reality press down on him. The humans were no longer just shadows. They were present, precise, and in control. Impossible, he muttered. 12 small ships cannot do this. But he had no choice but to acknowledge the truth. Humans were not predictable. Humans were not weak. Humans were unstoppable when they chose the right moment. The human fleet held its ground. The aliens, though stronger and larger, had been manipulated into confusion. Every attack the aliens attempted was countered by human strategy. Every attempt to regain formation failed. Mira spoke over the fleet comm. Let them see this day. Let them remember what happens when they underestimate humanity. We do not need numbers. We do not need firepower. We only need courage, cunning, and unity. Raj smiled. They're learning that the hard way. The humans had not fired a single destructive shot in full combat yet. The battle was psychological, strategic, and precise. Fear was a weapon. Invisibility was their shield. And their presence alone was enough to dominate. In the alien flagship, Jarek stood quietly. His fleet was vast, powerful, and armed to destroy galaxies. Yet 12 human ships had shattered their confidence, invaded their formations, and disrupted their control without destruction. He realized a lesson he would never forget. Strength alone cannot defeat strategy, courage, and unpredictability. Outside, the stars stretched endlessly. The human fleet remained poised and visible among the alien ships. The Armada had power, but the humans had proved that precision, courage, and ingenuity were stronger. And now, with the final phase complete, the humans prepared for the next step. The stand was successful. The aliens were shaken, and Earth's small fleet had proven once again why humanity was never to be underestimated. The stars stretched endlessly across the dark void, silent witnesses to a battle that no one could fully see. The alien armada, massive and gleaming, had learned one undeniable truth. Humans were not ordinary enemies. 12 small ships had entered their formation, disappeared, manipulated, and struck with perfect precision. Now they were visible not to attack, but to declare their presence. On the bridge of the horizon, Captain Mira Hale stood, her gaze firm and unwavering. Behind her, the rest of the small fleet aligned in formation. The ghost field still hummed quietly around them, but the shimmer of invisibility was fading. It was time to be seen. Time to show the aliens that fear alone could not defeat humanity. Lieutenant Raj Patel tapped the tactical display. "All ships are aligned, Captain. We are ready for full visibility." Mira nodded. "Then let them see who they face." Across the Armada, thousands of alien soldiers and officers froze. The humans appeared suddenly in the midst of the gaps they had feared would be empty. Every ship was visible, precise, and in formation. The 12 small Earth ships now seemed to dwarf their size with the confidence they radiated. Even Supreme Commander Jarek's breath caught in his throat. His red eyes scanned the formation, his mind struggling to comprehend what he was seeing. 12 small ships, 12, had infiltrated, disoriented, and now dominated his fleet without being destroyed. "Sir," one of his captains said urgently, They are visible, but they're not attacking." Jarek clenched his fists. "No, they do not need to attack. Their presence is enough. They have already broken our control. Everything we do now will be reactionary, and that is the human's true power." In the horizon, Mira raised her hand slightly, a signal to her fleet. The human ship spread out, creating a wave of movement through the alien formation. Every alien captain felt the pressure. Every strategy was disrupted. Every plan was undone before it could be executed. Raj leaned over, whispering, "They're panicking. I can see it on their sensors." Mira's expression was calm but sharp. "Good. That means they are learning. Every moment of fear is a victory." Inside the alien armada, ships tried to respond. Turrets fired into empty space. Engines recalibrated. Patrol ships shifted positions to cover weak points. But every move the aliens made was anticipated. The humans had studied their tactics, predicted their reactions, and controlled the battlefield with psychology rather than brute force. A young pilot looked at his commander. "Sir, they're everywhere we look. How is this possible?" The commander shook his head slowly. "They are not everywhere. They are humans, and humans are unpredictable." Jarek felt the weight of the moment press down. His fleet had numbers, power, and weapons. Yet 12 small ships had proven that strategy, courage, and ingenuity could surpass even the mightiest forces. The human fleet moved carefully among the aliens. They did not fire destructive weapons yet. Their goal was control, not destruction. Every move caused hesitation. Every gap exploited created a ripple of fear. Mira spoke to her fleet calmly. "Remember, we are not just visible. We are present. They must understand that humanity cannot be cornered. They must feel our strength without a single ship destroyed." Tessa Cho's voice came from engineering. "Energy levels stable. We can maintain visibility and control. The ghost field can still assist if we need a sudden escape." Raj added, "Sensors show complete chaos in their ranks. They're losing formation and coordination." Mira allowed herself a small smile. "Then we've done our job. Now we show them the final lesson." In the alien flagship, Jarek felt a shiver run through him. Thousands of ships, countless weapons, advanced technology. And yet his armada was powerless in the face of invisible humans now revealed. He clenched his fists. "All ships maintain formation. Prepare for counterattack." But even as he spoke, he knew it might be too late. The humans had already dictated the terms of engagement. Every alien ship was reacting to the humans, not leading the battle. "They are not just fighting us," whispered Reinar. "They are teaching us a lesson." Jarek's jaw tightened. "Then we will learn quickly. Do not underestimate them." The human fleet pressed the advantage. Tiny bursts of energy flowed silently from their ships, disrupting engines, shields, and weapon systems. Alien ships collided with one another in confusion. Their perfect formation broken, the humans moved like a wave through the armada, precise and unstoppable. Mira's voice cut through the fleet comm. Hold positions. Observe the effect. Remember, fear is stronger than destruction. Presence is stronger than numbers. Raj grinned. They're seeing it now, Captain. Total chaos. Yes, Mira said. And it's only the beginning. Supreme Commander Jarek turned to his war council. We must act decisively. Target every anomaly. The strategist shook his head. Sir, we cannot target them. They move too fast. They strike with precision before we can respond. Every attack we make is anticipated. Jarek's red eyes burned with frustration. Then we must change tactics. Focus on defense. Prepare for a controlled retreat if necessary. Do not give them an opportunity to strike directly. On the horizon, Mira watched the alien ships carefully. They were massive, armed to the teeth, and highly advanced. Yet they were losing confidence, losing control, and losing the initiative. She spoke softly but clearly. Humans are not defined by size or numbers. We are defined by courage, strategy, and unity. Remember that, crew? This is why we win, Raj whispered. And why the galaxy will never forget this day. Mira nodded. Exactly. Let them see it. Let them remember. The human fleet moved through the alien formation, striking only when necessary. Their weapons disabled, their engines disrupted, but no lives were lost. This was not destruction. This was a statement. In the alien flagship, Jarek watched in disbelief. His fleet, designed to overwhelm, had been manipulated. 12 human ships had dictated the battle without destruction. He could not fight them conventionally. He could only react. And that reaction allowed the humans to control the situation completely. They are everywhere, he muttered. And nowhere. The humans maintained visibility long enough for the alien fleets to see them clearly. They did not hide, they did not flee, they controlled. Every small maneuver created hesitation. Every presence caused doubt. By the time the aliens realized the humans were in the midst of their formation, it was too late to regain control. Mira spoke over the fleet comm one final time. This is what happens when you underestimate humanity. We do not need overwhelming numbers. We do not need massive weapons. We only need strategy, courage, and the will to act. Raj added, quietly but proudly. And sometimes being unseen first is part of the plan. In the alien fleet, confusion reached its peak. Supreme Commander Jarek realized that he could no longer give perfect orders. The humans had turned the battlefield into their own game. Every attempt to restore formation failed. Every instruction to attack resulted in mistakes. He knew the lesson would be remembered for generations. Humans were not to be underestimated. Outside, the stars shone as the human fleet glided gracefully through the armada. Visible now, yet still untouchable, they had proven a point far stronger than any weapon could. They had not destroyed the aliens. They had not massacred fleets. They had demonstrated the power of strategy, patience, and ingenuity. And the galaxy would never forget it. Mira looked at her fleet, all 12 ships perfectly aligned, humming quietly with energy. The signal burns bright, she said softly. Let them see it. Let them know that Earth's small fleet is unstoppable when united and smart. Raj smiled. They'll remember this day, Captain. That's certain. Yes, Mira replied. And that is enough. The human fleet, small but brilliant, vanished once again, this time leaving behind a message the alien armada could not ignore. A single, clear signal resonated across their communications. Humanity still stands. The alien fleet could do nothing but stare in disbelief. Fear, respect, and understanding rippled through their ranks. Humans were not just another species in the galaxy. They were clever, brave, and unstoppable. And the small fleet of Earth had proven it. The word count, 1,300 words. Third-person narration, simple, clear English. FY theme, human courage, strategy, and unity. Thrilling and satisfying conclusion, no violated content. This completes the full 5-part HFY sci-fi story. If you like, I can also combine all 5 parts into a single polished story ready to read as one continuous narrative. Do you want me to do that? You said, Part 5, 1,300 words ka lekho or interesting hona chahiye or third-person style ma lekhni hai, or simple basic English ka. Don't use any violated word, so please avoid any violated content. ChatGPT said, absolutely. Here is a freshly written Part 5 of Aliens Shocked as Earth's Small Fleet Vanishes into Thin Air. Following your requirements, third-person style, simple and clear English, Around 1,300 words, no violated content. Thrilling conclusion with HFY themes. Part 5. The signal burns bright. The vast darkness of space stretched endlessly, silent except for the faint hum of countless alien engines. The massive armada of the Vorath Empire, once proud and confident, now drifted in tense confusion. Every captain scanned their sector repeatedly, trying to find what could not be found. 12 small human ships had infiltrated their formation, vanished into thin air, and returned at will, invisible yet omnipresent.